Hi, welcome to the REBBL GMan Season 5 Div 4H Precap with me, your host, Lord Sigmund, also the coach of the Bioes Boyos Pro Elf team within this division. Now, this is my first time recapping, so bear with me, I'm still figuring things out a little bit. So, here are our teams for the division that we've got so far. 11 out of 14 teams have accepted their tickets so far, so I'm going to have to jump around a bit to get to the later ones. Okay, so team number 1, Chaos Black Nightmares. They are a Chaos team playing out of the Pain Dome, and Coach Miklas here. They have a current score history of record of 4-6-29. They've been around a bit. This is their 4th season. They've had a bit of bad luck so far, finishing bottom of Division 4D last season, but they do have the highest team value in the div at the moment. They've got one scary claw, tentacles, juggernaut guard minotaur at the top here that's eating up quite a bit of their team value, but they also have a blodge extra arms beastman down here, a couple of guard mighty blow block chaos warriors that need to be watched out for, a liberal smattering of block everywhere in the Beastmen, which is different from the other Chaos team that we have to look at later on. But they do have quite a lot of injuries. A couple of niggles down here, a missing MA's point there, one Agi point here, and their Minotaur's been hit a little bit badly. I imagine that Sangor's here, the block claw Beastman, actually has 3 niggling injuries. He's probably going to have a big target on his head and get taken out quite quickly, I expect, so he might be replacing as soon as possible. But like I said, this team's been around for a long time, and hopefully they have a bit of more success this season. So next up is the Black Creek Buccaneers. That's Maiden Maniacs Dark Elf team playing out of Black Creek Spire. They have a record of 8-6-2. This is their 2nd season. They started season 13 and took a break for season 14, but they're now back. They finished top of season 13, Div 5B, and didn't lose a single game in the Greenhorn or Div 5B. Unfortunately, they then went mid-table in the play-ins and didn't make the playoffs. But they're now back and ready to kick some arse. They have one Mighty Blow Tackle Blitzer, one sidestep, one tackle, and a nicely developed Witch Elf here with block, tackle and sidestep. And a load of linemen with dodge and wrestle, including one guard, one hiding down here. Doing the standard Black Elf, Dark Elf team development. Nothing really surprising, but some nice positionals here that are ripe for further exploration. And a nice fun factor of 7, so they've done some winning in their history. As an elf coach myself, I have a bit of affinity for them, and they seem nicely developed, and I look forward to seeing how they do over the rest of the season. So next is the Ulfragangers, a Norse team at Valhalla, coach Zubnig. Now, Zubnig has come out of the College League and the Minors League from season 10 this year, now into the majors with everything to prove. Very well developed team with a few permanent injuries knocking around, but 4 guard, block on both Ulfwerners, a pylon mighty blow blitzer, and a blodge stepping tackle guard runner. Make them look good on paper, but AV7's always ready to bite you in the arse if you don't pay attention. Unfortunately, only a single player with tackle might cause headaches against the dodge heavy teams, the elf teams that are knocking around. There's a few of those in this division, as well as 2 Lizardmen teams, and actually a surprising amount of dodge on the Necromantic teams as well. So I can't help but thinking that only having one tackle player on the entire team is going to cause them a bit of weakness there. But everything to prove in the major leagues now though. Next we've got the Emperor's Chosens, the human team coached by Masakra at Altdorf. They have a record of 8-3-11. There we go. And the roster's looking pretty good. Like the Norse team before us, they went from college to minors in season 10. Different division to Zumnig though. They've got a nice smattering of stat increases though, in comparison to the Norse. Yeah, plus strength on a blitzer with block there, plus 2 movement ups on the thrower, including block and accurate there. So thrower is probably the star player on the team at the moment. I don't really agree with taking the agility on the lineman. I'd much rather having a dirty player or a kicker there. I think that contribute more to the team. But they do have a pylon mighty blow tackle blitzer up there and an ogre with guard to round it out as well, and a blodge stepping catcher as well. So lots of promise, nicely developed team, done pretty well so far. Lots of games under their belt. Now into the majors. Let's see how they do in here against the other teams. Next up is the War Beasts. This is Cthulhu Collect's Orc team playing out of the zoo. They have a bit of a more unfortunate record there, 1, 2 and 11. Cthulhu Collect's the story coach. He's been around since season 7 as far as I can tell, but this team only started last season. They had a very unlucky season 4, finishing bottom of Div 5e and Training Grounds I without a single win since their first Greenhorn game. They did have the misfortune of sharing Div 5e with Kanuki, another esteemed member of the Elven Union, who proceeded to win that Div and show the superiority of the Pro Elves there. Regardless, this team's very well developed though, with 3 guard players, 3 mighty blows, block on 3 of the Black Orcs, and 2 tackle blitzers. I wouldn't underestimate them, even though they're pretty well developed for a single season team so far. Lots of SPP around, and only go upwards to go really. So hopefully they can put the bad luck of season 14 behind them and show season 14 who's boss. Compared to the other teams, fairly low team value with only 1420. A lot of the other teams are up in the 1600-1700 range, and still with a lot of good skills on there, so I'm hoping the Wild Beasts pull it out this season. So, skipping me, we'll come back to me later, we'll go straight into the Highwaymen, the High Elf team here, coached by Pylon. They play out in Parliament, and they have a record of 5, 3 and 8 so far. I do believe, yep, 5, 3 and 8 there. This is our second season elf team, just like the Dark Elves. It's not as good a record though. They finished mid-table in both season 14 Div 5B and the Training Grounds A, but did pick up 2 guard linemen and a plus Agi blitzer on the way, and both blitzers have tackle. Again, I disagree with the Agi on this lineman here. Not for the first skill on a lineman. I think dodge would have been a better choice. Possibly kick actually. Oh no, they've got a kicker there as well. So yeah. But they do have a lot of dodge knocking around. Only 3 block players and no wrestle players though may mean that they are relying on a lot of dodge to avoid catastrophe, and will want to avoid, unfortunately from what I can tell, the Div has a lot of tackle and a lot of block tackle players. Quite a lot of them with mighty blow on as well. So I would probably be praying to God that the dodge on theirs survives, keeps them alive. Otherwise we'll want to pick up some block or wrestle on a lot of these players as soon as possible to give them a bit more survivability. The 3 catchers there, 4 catchers, 2 of them rookies, 2 with dodge, looks a bit of a weakness to me. Yeah. So next up we have the Sewer Kings, the lowest rated team in the Div? Yeah, the lowest rated team in the division at the moment, with only 1190 team value. So, yeah, they are Cranky Goblins team, playing out of the sewers. They have a record of 6, 0 and 8 at the moment, and even though they are this low team value, this team has potential as far as I can tell. They're another second season team, finishing the top of season 14 Div 5k with a 5-0-2 record, but unfortunately then they went bottom of their subsequent play in Div at 0-0 and 5, so had a bit of misfortune in the play in Div there. They are our first team on the list with no draws so far, living up to their motto of "we run fast, we die quick." And these 2 gutter runners at the top are going to be the ones to watch out for, both with block, both with plus MA. They're likely to be end up natural one-turners and nightmares for the entire division. Make sure you stock up on tackle, which thankfully most of the divs seem to have done. They also have a guard on one gutter, but lost their fourth gutter, a wrestle dauntless one, a couple of games ago. Could have been even worse. But very strong team. Like Skaven teams that want to do, not really very many skills on the line rats, but a kicker and a dirty player are always good to have. So, moving on. Our second Chaos team on the list, the Apocalypse of Death, King Kills team here. Now, they, same colour scheme as our other Chaos team, but not as much development going on here. Another second season team came fourth in season 14 Div 5J, but didn't do as well in Training Grounds A, finishing below the Highwaymen, our aforementioned High Elf team. They did beat the Highwaymen in their Training Grounds matchup though, so a potential rivalry brewing here. They have Mighty Blow everywhere, as you can tell. This team's doing one thing and one thing only, possibly to the detriment. Only 2 block is possibly going to not serve them very well. One on the 2 arms ball carrier might be a miss. Yeah. I would not want to play this team against the Norse team. The block matchup will probably not be very good for them. Hopefully the Mighty Blows keep them safe. They're going to want to clear the pitch as soon as possible. Especially with Claw piling on Mighty Blow on that Minotaur. But that, as in my personal opinion, blitzing and blocking with Minotaurs, well, blitzing with Minotaurs tend to lead to traps. Hopefully he can pull it out though. I'm going to get these teams mixed up with the other Chaos team. They've both got the same colour scheme, they've both got the same logo. So then on to the Swedish Forest Wolves. The necromantic team at Forest Ruin. Coached by Gimlick, they have a 5, 4 and 3 record. They're another second season team. They played in season 14 Div 5K with Cranky Goblins, Skaven team above the Sewer Kings. They finished mid-table with a 3-2-2 record though. They followed that by going to Training Grounds H with your esteemed host, where they came second. Above me, yeah. But crucially, they lost our matchup 3-1, so we know who the real winner there was. They've got 2 guard, block on both Flesh Golems, and a pile on Mighty Blow Wolf, not to mention dodge on both whites, making them very nicely developed. I'd like to see at least one dirty player on those zombies though. Yeah, if you're not fouling with a necromantic or undead team, you're doing it wrong as far as I'm concerned. So I can see the value in taking the wrestle on there, and possibly you probably wouldn't want dirty player on your same zombie that has wrestle. I can see the value in taking Fen there, but one of these 5 out of 6 zombies here, I want to see dirty player on one of those as soon as possible. Now going back, we have the Orgori's Warriors, an orc team over here. They play out of Orgori Coliseum. They have a record of 5, 7 and 4. So unlike the Sewer Kings who have no draws, these guys are going overboard on the draws. Another second season team. They've been stalking your esteemed host for an entire season, both through our Div 5F and Training Grounds H, where we also shared with Gimlick's Swedish Forest Wolves above. You'll be glad to hear that your esteemed host was victorious in both our matchups in both divisions, and also finished just above Orgori's Warriors in both of them. I don't think this team's to be underestimated though, regardless of their penchant for drawing games. They've got 3 block guard Black Orcs, 1 with Mighty Blow, a pylon Mighty Blow Blitzer with plus MA, and a developed plus IG Blitzer. Also they've got 3 tackles knocking about for those elf matchups, and on top of that you can't forget block on the troll as well. That guy's going to be great once he's got guard as well. I am going to look to continue my streak of beating Orgori's Warriors though, so we'll have a look at my team then. So here we are. Fairly low TV compared to the rest. Unfortunately that's because I've lost a lot of linemen recently. So here we go, Bowie's Boyos. They're the Pro Elves playing at Suffragette City, coached by your esteemed host Lord Sigmund. They have a score record of 6, 2 and 8, so a bit average unfortunately. We finished mid-table in both Season 14 Div 5F and Training Grounds H, like Ogori's Warriors. I've got nicely developed positionals on here, with Agi on one blitzer, movement on another, and there's a smashing of Blodge Step and Raj on there. I used to have, like I said before, I used to have a lot more skilled linemen though, but they died like Pro Elves tend to do. I had a couple more wrestle ones and a couple of block ones. I'm going to be looking to hire a couple more as soon as possible, so I don't have to end up putting these catches in harm's way when we set up, or actually starting with all 4 catches on the pitch at the same time. I don't really want to have to do that. So my season, I'm looking to develop my linemen back up again, maybe get a bench, level these 2 catches up, and continue my streak of beating Ogori's Warriors. So that's the 11 teams that we have that have accepted their tickets so far. Then we have 3 teams that haven't. So if I try to bring those up, give me a second. So welcome back. Here we are with the first of our missing ticket teams so far. So we have the Patchy Pack, the necromantic team at the hunting grounds, coached by the lovely Fool. They currently have a 5-2-2 record. Another coach from the Minor League Season 10, playing in the upstarts before then. They have won their last 5 matches in a row. Personally, I think this is a lovely developed team with 2 Blodge Tackle Wolves, one with Mighty Blow on top of that, a guard tackle on both whites, block on both golems, one with dodge and one with guard also, and a Dirty Player Zombie to boot. I think this is my personal pick for league favourite if the coach can live up to the promise of the team. Definitely. Next we have the High Barnet Raiders, the first of our 2 Lizardmen teams. Playing out at Wessex Court, coached by Illogic88, with a 12-4-6 record. Like the previous Northern Humans teams, it's come from college and then Minor League Season 10. Unfortunately lost a couple of well-developed skinks, with the plus AG Surefeet skink dying a couple of games ago. They still have a blocks guard Croxiger, block or wrestle on all but one of the Saurus, including 2 with guard and another with Mighty Blow and Tackle. It's a scary looking team for poor elf coaches like me, I'm afraid. We don't do very well against well-developed Strength 4 players, but I think the Patchy Pack Necromantic team that we've just seen edge them out in threat level a little bit. But possibly a contender for second scariest team in the div. And finally we've got the Jurassic Sparks, a Lizardmen at the Temple, coached by Owaxter, with a 6-4-6 record so far. They're our final second season team, but Owaxter's played in Season 12 and 13 with different teams. They finished averagely at mid-table in both Season 14 Div 5A and Training Grounds D. Not as much development as the High Barnet Raiders, but they do have block on 3 Saurus, 2 guard, and a Mighty Blow, as well as a couple of well-developed skinks. So I see lots of potential for them to do well over Season 15 if they can dodge all the block and tackle out there in the division. Well, that's it from me. I hope this has been acceptable as my first recap, and look forward to seeing how the first matchups get matched up and played. So we'll hopefully the other teams will accept their tickets first, and I will see you next week. Good luck in your games.